What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to an episode of the Always Compete Seahawks podcast. I am Sam. That is Mike. Today, we're going to be having a nice little fun, hot debate that has been going around Seahawks fandom. But real quick, before we get into that, we just want to remind you to subscribe if you have not already. A lot of people that watch our videos are not subscribed. So if you're enjoying these videos, you're enjoying the content, please start watching and please start subscribing. And also hit that like and leave a comment in the comments below because we love to hear your opinion, especially on videos like this where there's multiple sides to take. So, yes, get to that. But our debate that we're going to be having today is Deshaun Watson versus Malik Willis. What are the positives, the negatives, and ultimately, what is the better move for the team in the long term? We already kind of did a video touching, at least for me, on why I thought trading for Deshaun Watson was a bad idea. And I have a Seahawks group chat that I tend to talk in, and we basically started a group chat civil war. It was like half like Deshaun Watson is great, why do you not want Deshaun Watson? The other half was like, why would we want Deshaun Watson? Of course, I was in the latter, but we're gonna be debating that today since it's a very polarizing topic. The Seahawks are apparently at least pretty interested in Deshaun Watson. I don't know if they're so interested as to extend an offer, but they're so interested to at least be one of the teams that's like constantly mentioned when talking about Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be interesting to talk about. I think we dive right in. Do you want to start on the side of Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, I mean, let's start on the side of Deshaun Watson. Obviously, got the news yesterday that he has been, careful how I word this. He has been proven innocent on his criminal charges in court. So yes.
Civil, not the civil court, the actual court, like court has ruled that he's innocent on lack of evidence. So it's a pretty vague title because it's not like, he didn't do it. It's just that we have no proof that he did.
Right. And so, which means he won't be going to jail. That is the only, I guess, guarantee we have right now. But we got that news yesterday. It's big news, being that was the verdict. Now I think teams are giving themselves the green light to kind of do more research and extend offers to the Texans for Deshaun Watson. So that was a big little nugget we got on Friday. Now, talking about Deshaun Watson, very, very interesting scenario because at best, you're getting a young superstar quarterback, a guy who's been to the playoffs with the subpar Texans team, a guy who has thrown for he's had a 5,000-yard year, I believe. I believe in 2020 he had a 5,000-yard year.
I don't know if he had 5,000 yards, but I know that he had very high yards.
I mean, he's obviously a superstar guy. He wins games. Great quarterback. I don't think anybody is denying that Deshaun Watson is a fantastic quarterback. And so just off that alone, you would think, oh yeah, we should definitely trade for him. He's 26, great superstar. But the downside, there's a couple of big downsides when it comes to Deshaun Watson. Number one, big cap hit, right? I think his contract is about where Russell Wilson's was at, about $35 million.
I think he makes more annually than Russ.
Yeah, it's really, really close.
Because doesn't Mahomes make 50 average per year?
Pretty much, yeah.
I think Watson makes in the 40s.
I think it's like average? 35, 36 is what I would say.
I'll look up Deshaun Watson contract extension to just get like the report at the time.
Yeah, you get the exact number, but regardless, we wouldn't be saving a lot of money like we had from Russ trading and Bobby getting cut, right? So the financial hit would be a lot. Additionally, it would cost us probably more than we got back in return for Russell Wilson, given his age. So do you really want to trade away Russell Wilson, an icon, and then have to give up more for a guy in Deshaun Watson, right? That's kind of
By the way, he's making 40 average per year. It's
40 average per year,
160 million.
Okay, so a little bit more than Russell Wilson. So
about
again,
$5 million more than Russ's average, which is considerable.
It's considerable. Again, you have the trade package would be a lot, I believe.
It would be the Texans, a ton. It would probably be more picks. It would be like a third, and maybe it would be 3 first-round picks, and
probably
potentially
3 firsts.
Even more.
Yeah.
On top of that, And the problem is I don't think that the Seahawks will be able to drag them down unless Deshaun Watson walks into the front office and the Texans front office and explicitly says the Seahawks are the only place that I would go.
That would be a big benefit for us because he does have that no trade clause, and he will not waive it unless it's a team he wants to go to. And if you're Deshaun Watson and it's between the teams that are going to trade for a quarterback, right? So like Carolina, Seattle now is in that contention, Minnesota,
Pittsburgh,
Washington, Pittsburgh,
Indianapolis.
They're not going to trade him in division. So Indianapolis is out.
Yeah, he's out of division.
Yeah, so they're not going to trade him to Indianapolis.
And I hear Pittsburgh is not interested in Deshaun Watson. They are interested in a quarterback, but not interested.
So the Commanders, Minnesota. Oh yeah, they got Carson Wentz anyways. Yeah, so
Cleveland.
Seattle, Minnesota,
Cleveland,
right?
Yeah.
But of those teams,
Tampa, New Orleans, those teams.
Of those teams, if you're Deshaun Watson, I'm sure probably Seattle is the most enticing. So that could be the case there. But to me, I understand Deshaun Watson is a fantastic quarterback. I understand that he's young, but he costs a lot of money. He's going to cost a lot of capital to acquire him.
More capital than Russ.
Yeah. And again, it's kind of a really bad look to have a guy who's been accused of so much stuff to be your franchise quarterback. I don't want to get into that whole debate, but that's a lot. And he's still going to have to deal with a lot of civil stuff going on. And that's just a lot of stuff I don't want my franchise quarterback having. So I think for those reasons, that's kind of the gist of Deshaun Watson. You got a lot of really goods, young, superstar quarterback, all that, really expensive, going to cost a lot to get, a question mark in terms of the character. So Deshaun Watson to me is very interesting, and I don't know how I would feel about if the Seahawks did pull a trigger on a trade, but I guess we'll have to see. That's one of our options. That's a fairly likely option for the Seahawks at quarterback now.
Just to add a few thoughts from that I imagined. For positives, he's going to give us the best chance to compete right away. He's going to give us the best chance to win games
in 2022. Right. Yeah.
And if that's your thing, then great. A few negatives, which might also be a positive, depending on how you look at it. I'll say for both, we're probably going to have to make a few more major additions if we get Deshaun Watson, because that shows that we're trying to still compete. And this roster is not a competing roster. It's just not. We have great weapons, sure, but the O-line is serviceable.
At best.
Run game is questionable without Rashad Penny right now. You don't know how that's going to look. We have one outside corner on the roster. Our linebacking core seems a bit more questionable. Our edges are questionable, and we're potentially going to lose a Pro Bowl safety. And our coaches are currently being slandered by former Seahawks players.
Mm-hmm. We literally just made a video about why Pete Carroll sucks.
Yeah, so that is a positive because I guess, hey, better players, but it's a negative because money is a thing. And also, my biggest note from this that you kind of forgot to mention is Deshaun Watson is probably going to be suspended. This tweet from Andrew Brandt earlier today. Listen to this. There were no criminal charges against Ben Roethlisberger. There were no criminal charges against Ezekiel Elliott. Both had incidents with one woman, not multiple, unlike Deshaun. And
just
both
22
were still suspended for 6 games.
Mm-hmm.
He might get suspended for half of the season, if not more.
We've never really seen, correct me if I'm wrong, I've never seen a case like this in terms of the NFL where it's 22.
On this scale, yes. There's obviously been more cases that are a little bit worse, but on this scale,
OJ,
OJ wasn't in the NFL. I could think of a former Patriots tight end, a former Ravens running back.
Kareem Hunt. Yeah, you could think about him too.
Yeah, I could think about a Rob Gronkowski. We don't want to talk about what he's done. The former Patriots tight end. I'm just going to name drop him. Rob Gronkowski. You don't want to know.
Yeah, he's bad.
What he's done on that party cruise that he had. Jesus Christ.
He bunted with the Lombardi Trophy. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's like life in prison without parole.
Done.
And he essentially evaded it.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
That's what Manscaped. That's what the Manscaped sponsorship will do to you, I guess.
All joking aside, He's gonna get suspended. I'm pretty confident in saying that.
I would be very confident. Probably 6 games at least.
If you trade 3 first-round picks, do you really want to risk having your quarterback suspended for half of the season, if not more?
Right.
I don't really want that.
No.
Yeah, just not. No.
Yeah.
I mean,
here's 3 first-rounders, and we're getting this guy for 23, 24, 25, like minimum 3.5 years, or maximum 3.5 years. I don't know. I wouldn't like that.
Yeah, because this year was his first year under his new contract. If he misses most of the season, it basically means that we'd have 2 years with him.
Yeah.
After spending 3 first-round picks. Chihuahua, makes my skin crawl. So I mean,
like you said, with the subpar team that we wouldn't be able to rebuild without first-round picks.
Compete with. Yeah.
Exactly. So
all right, so that's we kind of shared our opinion on that. We do not want this to happen.
Not really. No.
However, Malik Willis is one that I very much do want to happen. Here's my thought process on it. Malik Willis has an incredibly high ceiling.
Yes.
His arm is absolutely colossal.
Fantastic.
He has a better, I remember in college when Mahomes was coming out of college, I really liked his arm and how he could sling the ball. Obviously, he ran an air raid offense.
Yeah.
But I remember really liking how he could sling the ball. When Malik Willis came out, I think Malik Willis has a better arm than Patrick Mahomes coming out of the draft. This dude, he can sling the
hot, bro. That's
rock.
Hot.
He could probably throw 70 yards. I mean, the man has a absolute cannon. If you want to watch him in the combine, dropping a ball in the bucket 50 yards downfield and not get flashbacks of Russ deep balls, I don't know what Seahawks fan wouldn't want that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that his athleticism is another big strength.
Mm-hmm.
With just a total Daniel Jeremiah talked about this. Thickly built. He breaks tackles when running. He is a physical big runner. How much I want my quarterback getting hit, maybe that's something that Pete Carroll can talk to him about. But at the end of the day, I mean, the guy is very physical. He's very athletic. He has a cannon of an arm. From what I've heard, he's been absolutely presenting himself very well in Mobile, which is important. I know you expect most guys to present themselves well, but especially a guy who's coming out of Liberty, a small school. You don't know what kind of leadership traits that he will bring, especially when we've seen a guy named we've seen Carson Strong come out and apparently carry himself like a total immature just person during his meetings. From what I've heard, he apparently didn't know coverages. He kind of blew off certain questions. To see a guy come in young like him, come in from a small school where his success was relatively meteoric, and for him to carry himself in a very good manner is great. And also, don't really know the legitimacy of this video. However, there was a video of him giving I think money or food to
I think it was clothes person. Yeah, clothes and food and stuff,
or something. I don't know, but I think it might have been staged because the video was posted by an advertising agency or the person who works for an advertising agency. So
well, I mean, yeah, maybe, but regardless, it was still a nice gesture.
Either way, it shows character, I guess. And I mean, I just think that the sky is the limit for this kid. He can read coverages pretty well. He's not at all necessarily mentally not a good quarterback. He reads coverages well. He understands the field. He can make throws in every position from the field. If you want him to stand on the left hash and make a throw to the right hash, he can easily make that throw. The guy has an absolute cannon. My negative for him is really 2 things. One thing. It is a 2 things I would say. Colossal risk. High ceiling, but this guy's perceived as possibly the biggest wild card in the entire draft, at least at the quarterback position. I think Matt Corral would probably be a much more sure pick than Malik Willis.
Yeah,
I think that
lower ceiling, higher floor. I
think that Sam Howell might be a much more sure pick than Malik Willis. I think Desmond Ridder might be a much more sure pick than Malik Willis because you don't know how he's going to fare coming in playing against better competition out of that small school. And, with that high ceiling, you don't know if he's going to be a total flub. Another guy who had a cannon arm coming out of college was Jamarcus Russell. And I think we all know how that worked out. I mean, and another thing is that ultimately this makes it a full on sit around and wait kind of rebuild where you hope that the team grows around him and you let it rise from the dirt as you hopefully build a team that's good enough to compete for a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, those are my concerns. I mean, Mike, did you see anything that
I have a few things about few positives and negatives about Malik that you didn't mention. I think the biggest one being with a rookie quarterback, regardless of who it is, Malik would obviously count as well. They'd be so much cheaper than a Deshaun Watson.
Yes,
I think a good young quarterback on a cheap deal is one of the most valuable things you can have in football. The Seahawks had that with Russell Wilson. The year we won the Super Bowl, we were paying him nothing.
A lot.
Right, we were paying him nothing. Chiefs did it with Patrick Mahomes. So that'd be great. Obviously, wouldn't have to pay him big money for 4 years probably, which would be awesome if he was good. I think one negative though, well, it's two negatives. One negative is, like you said, the risk of first-round quarterbacks is really hit or miss. You could either draft a really, really great quarterback or you draft a bust.
Especially with the ninth pick.
With the ninth pick, especially and this quarterback class, this is not a great quarterback class.
With the one you got for Russell Wilson.
Yes. So trading Russell Wilson for a first-round quarterback, especially, is risky, right? Another thing that I think is specific to Malik Willis, like you mentioned, this guy is more of a project than I think a Matt Corral, a Desmond Ridder, Sam Howell. And I think in the case of a great example of this was Lamar Jackson, right? Coming out of college, Lamar Jackson was he was very raw, right? And he needed that Baltimore Ravens coaching staff to mold him and to run an offense based around him and do all of those things. And they've done that, and Lamar's now a fantastic quarterback. Do you have faith, and this is rhetorical, do you have faith in the Seahawks coaching staff, Pete Carroll, Shane Waldron, whoever, to not only mold him into a successful NFL quarterback, but to run an offense based off of his strengths? And I don't know. I don't know. And that is very scary to me as well.
I'm going to comment on that aspect of it in the sense that I'm actually kind of confident in the Seahawks scouting rookie quarterbacks. And here's why. Obviously Russell Wilson was their guy. They were living and dying by Russell Wilson in that 2012 draft, which, I mean, shows that alone that's a win. But in 2017, the Seahawks were apparently going to heavily consider and potentially, if not pick, Patrick Mahomes if he was available at number 26. And that was their thought process at the time. I mean, we know what Patrick Mahomes has been. He's only the best quarterback in the league, probably. Mm-hmm. And then in 2018, where the Browns were apparently offering a trade to the Seahawks that included the number 1 overall pick and a few other picks packaged in for Russell Wilson. And the Seahawks were apparently almost made that a done deal. They were getting ready to sign it up and make it ready, and they just kind of backed out at the last minute. They were going to pick Josh Allen, according to reports. Josh Allen has probably been the best quarterback from that draft.
Those are two of the top, probably 3 or 4 best quarterbacks.
Aging wise, I mean, because obviously Lamar had that one great year, but I think overall Josh Allen has been the better quarterback.
Yes, no, I would agree.
Yeah,
and Josh Allen too was a guy who was really. Mahomes and Allen were guys who were really raw coming out of college. Huge arm, mobile,
athletic and really raw. And that kind of fits exactly what we've heard. And according to Jeff Simmons from the Real Hawk Talk podcast, you have Nathan Ernst on. They run a great ship over there. After this, go ahead and check them out. Jeff Simmons, who has sources, said that everything he's heard is that Malik Willis is their guy in the draft.
Yeah. So I think I do think that they really like Malik.
Seem to be lining up.
And is it a coincidence? I mean, really, is it a coincidence that Malik Willis balled out at the combine, threw some bombs, and then just a few days later, and at the Senior Bowl, which is a Pete Carroll staple, he loves guys that do well at the Senior Bowl. Just a few days later, we traded away Russell Wilson.
That was my thought process immediately.
Yes,
we must have had a guy who we really, really liked at.
I saw a tweet, and I don't remember. I would credit this person. I don't remember who it's from. it was that Malik. It was a video of that absolute bomb that he threw, and he said, "This is the throw that made the Seahawks execute Order 66," which you guys don't understand. That's a Star Wars reference. But
yeah, Star Wars.
I
reference, great Star Wars reference.
Yeah. But I mean that could be really. I mean, the Seahawks could have saw him at the combine, absolutely fell in love with him, and then had the confidence to say, "Hey, if we are in a position where we can get this guy, we could trade Russell Wilson and still, have our quarterback." But it's a big risk. How many teams are looking for a new quarterback every year because the guy they draft just can't play or whatever? So very, very interesting time to be a Seahawks fan. We haven't had to worry about quarterbacks for 10 years now. My whole duration of being a Seahawks fan, I'll just be honest. So, but let us know what you guys think down below. Should we trade for Deshaun Watson or should we draft Malik Willis? A lot of you guys had very strong opinions on us taking Malik Willis in our mock draft last time. We got a lot of what are you doings? Are you even a Seahawks fan?
I think we got one what are you doings? And one person who said it makes 0 sense.
Right, because when you trade your franchise quarterback, it makes no sense.
I think it's hilarious because obviously when you trade your franchise quarterback, it makes 0 sense to pick a quarterback in the draft.
Right. Well, I mean, why would you pick a quarterback?
It doesn't add up. It makes 0 sense. I don't think it makes any sense at all. And frankly, I think it's more aligned with to take a running back,
right,
or a defensive tackle, a position that's much more important.
Honestly, even though they just traded for Noah Fant, I think we should take a tight end first round.
Yeah, Isaiah Likely. I mean, have you seen this guy? I mean, he's so talented. He's so good. So good. I mean, yeah. It makes 0 sense. Frankly, our podcast makes 0 sense. And frankly,
right.
Everything we talk about makes 0 sense because
we're not. Despite my shirt, I'm not actually a Seahawks fan. Despite my shirt that I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, I'm actually a diehard NHL fan. I don't watch football.
I'm really just a Broncos secret agent that has been just polluting Seahawks Twitter for the past 4 years in anticipation of this Russell Wilson trade. So
I don't watch football. I only watch
I'm a baseball
soccer.
fan.
I only watch German soccer. I don't even know what football really is, frankly. I just
it's football. That's it.
I mean, I know football. I don't know football, but I know
and egg is weird, man.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So listen, all joking aside, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed. Leave a comment, subscribe, click that bell, leave a like. We'll see you in the next video. Peace out.